chapter 15 is really a continuation of chapter 14. Keep in mind that in the beginning, Tao Te Ching does not have any chapter. It does not have any punctuation at all either. So it was the later scholar dividing the Tao Te Ching into different sections. Therefore, we have a different chapter now. So 15, we should look at it or read it from the perspective of chapter 14. So Tao Te Ching, chapter 15, the title is Not to Overfeel. So overfeel is the key term here. So this is the content for chapter 15. Chapter 15 looks like there's a lot of text. You know, when you first look at it, you might be overwhelmed. But I want to point out to you that don't be, because you can break it down to different sections to help you to understand. So in the first section here, it's just like a transition between chapter 14 and chapter 15. So this 3 lines is a transition. And then after this, Lao Tzu give more explanation or more elaboration on whatever he talks about in the introduction. So this is the 7 metaphor that Lao Tzu used. And after the 7 metaphor that he used, he posed 2 questions to you and me and to anybody who read the Tao Te Ching or the scholars. So after these 2 questions that after we ask ourselves, then Lao Tzu summed up the chapter. So this is the basic structure for this chapter. Let's begin with the first 3 lines here. The cultivators who follow the ancient are subtle, wonderful, profound, and comprehensive. The depth is unfathomable. Because here there's a lot of text, I have to break it down into different slides. So in this slide, we will talk about the one that's being highlighted, which is the first line here. The cultivator who follow the ancient are, so this is referring to chapter 14. As you recall in chapter 14, in the last 2 verses, it says, by holding the ancient way or the Tao, one can manage the current. Able to know the primeval beginning is called the essence of Tao. So chapter 14 talks about somebody who can manage the current life, the current world, the current society, is because this person is holding the ancient way or the ancient Tao. So chapter 15 is a continuation of 14. So who are these people? These are the cultivator who follow the ancient. So basically this sentence here is pretty similar to this one. It's almost talking about the same thing, but in a different perspective. So let's look at here, San Wei Si, this 3 character, the one that I marked in red, it means the cultivator who understand the Tao, who understand the principle, and they can focus on their cultivation. Not only they want to benefit themselves, not only they want to enrich their wisdom, they also want to benefit others too. So this is what it means. The cultivator who understands Tao, although Lao Tzu is talking about the ancient time, but I want you to look at this scripture, look at this verse as Lao Tzu is talking to us, because we are all here studying Tao Te Ching, and we are also following the ancient Tao too. So we are the cultivator. And next here, I want to point out to you this character here, Gu. It means the ancient. Here, it could be the ancient time, the ancient way, or the ancient principle. And of course, when we talk about the ancient principle, we know that Lao Tzu is referring to our conscience, our Buddha nature, our inner nature, our essence, and our original pure consciousness. And then here, another character that I want to mention is Si. This is a scholar. Because in the ancient time, China divided the people into 4 different categories. It's sort of like in the ancient time in India, there is like a 4 castes. But in China, back then, we don't call it 4 castes. We just separate them into 4 different categories. And this category, there's no higher level and there's no lower level, because you can see that the order goes like this. It goes like scholars. The second one is farmers. This one is laborers. And then the fourth one is the business person. Is the business person. So if you would look at it from the Indian caste perspective, you will put the laborer in the back. But in the ancient China, this is how the order goes. The scholars, farmers, laborers, and the business person. And talking about the ancient time, in Laozi's perspective, ancient time could mean Fushi's time. Fushi was probably the time is 2850 BC. I say probably because it's been so long. So if we would add our current time now, it's total of 4,870 years ago. So we can only guess how many years ago is the ancient time to Laozi. We can only guess probably is 4,800 years ago, or close to 5,000 years ago. So this is what it means on the first line. So first line, it means the scholars who study Tao and follow the ancient way. And this can also apply to us too. The second line, it says, here there's a 4 description: subtle, wonderful, profound, and comprehensive. So this 4 adjective is to describe the cultivator. So the ancient cultivator who follow the Tao are very subtle, wonderful, profound, and comprehensive. So let's look at it word by word. Subtle. Subtle, it means something very tiny and small. It's very hard to pay attention to, and it can go unnoticeable. So in terms of cultivation, it means that somebody who is very diligent in small places. So somebody very diligent in small places, for example, in the way he speaks, he's very careful in the word that he uses, whatever he dress, and then his appearance. So he's very careful in every detail. And the second character is miao, which is wonderful and marvelous, impeccable. Everything is to its perfection. Here I want to explain to you the word miao. Miao could be this one. In our previous session, I talked about the hetu, the marking from this mystical creature that's called a horse. So if we look at this marking here, everything is wonderful. Everything is up to its perfection. If you look at every direction here, a minus 3 is 5, 6 minus 1 is 5, 9 minus 4 is 5, 7 minus 2 is 5, and then you can see there's yin and yang in every direction, yin and yang in every direction. So this is a white dot and black dot, white dot and black dot. And also the combination in the middle too. So from here, it transformed to our A triagram here. And when you look at this, it's also marvelous and it's also wonderful too. So in this A triagram, you can see let's look at it from here. You can see this is a Tian and this is Kun. Tian is made out of a 3 solid line, and Kun is made out of a 3 broken line. So there's the yin, 3 of yin and 3 of yin. It's fully compatible, fully balanced. And then when you look at this direction, same thing happened too. You have a 1 broken line and 2 solid line. And from outside here, you have 1 solid line and 2 broken line. And so this one is in fully harmony, fully compatible. They complement each other. And the same thing for this direction too, and also the last one. So you can see the diagram in I Ching. It's really marvelous and it's really wonderful. So in terms of cultivation, it's talking about a person who does something or all the things he will consider in all aspects. In all aspects, consider I would say consider all people's perspective. When talking to a person, this person understand the other person's situation. Thinking about you attend to a wedding, it's a beautiful wedding, and then all the guests return with happiness. And then we can say the wedding is marvelous. It's up to perfection because all the guests are pleased. So everything is done in perfection in every aspect. The next one is 玄. 玄, it means profound, literally. It has a hidden beauty and virtue. It's something mysterious that you cannot see from the surface, but beneath that, there's a lot of potential energy and power. So in terms of cultivation, it means that the Tao cultivator who follow the ancient Tao has influential effect to the people around him. For example, Confucius, for example, Mother Teresa, our patriarch, our Qianren, our senior master and junior master Li in our Tienshin temple, they have profound beauty. And in any aspect that we look at, we feel totally attracted by their spiritual knowledge and wisdom. Next is this character. Tong, it means everything can flow freely, such as water. Water is the best example that I can think about to describe this. So water, when it flows down, it can go through everywhere. It can go through big streams, small streams. It can go through dirt between the rock, go through the grass, everywhere. So in terms of cultivation, it's talking about somebody who has comprehensive knowledge and a lot of wisdom. And this person can implement whatever he has in Tao and practice in his life. All this term is to describe the cultivator who follow the ancient principle or the ancient Tao. Next, this line says the depth is unfathomable. Here, Lao Tzu just say the key word is the depth, and then it's unfathomable. But Lao Tzu does not really talk about what kind of depth. So here I put a parenthesis. It's just my understanding. So the depth could be the cultivator's inner nature, the cultivator's wisdom, or the cultivator's profound work, or his virtue, many things about the cultivator. So everything regarding this cultivator's aspect, it's profound. So it doesn't make sense to put everything here. So I think just the word depth is enough. So depth, it means something very deep, profound, someone who has done something in a great depth. It's very profound and it's inspirational to the people around him or her. That work, it cannot be recognized because he or she does not want to be recognized. So although the appearance is to benefit others, but after he finished his work, he does not want to be recognized. He does not want to be awarded. And he does not want to show or be boastful. He's humble. And he just wants to perform the work silently and quietly. So here I have an example of the peanut. Lao Tzu wants to convey to us the purpose of our life. This peanut, for example, we can see the appearance of the peanut, but we cannot see the vitality within. If we open it up, the peanut will no longer be able to grow. However, if we put the peanut in the ground, we will see the peanut start to sprout. But the moment when the peanut starts to sprout, that peanut is not called a peanut anymore. This peanut is just like our physical body. We exist for the purpose of we have this moral value. We have this integrity. We have this conscience. We have this Buddha nature. We have this essence. If we don't have any of this, if we don't manifest our conscience, if we don't manifest our virtue, what's the use of our life? One day we were just waiting for our physical body to be deteriorated. Being able to manifest our Tao, being able to manifest our virtue, it's the greatest purpose for our physical body. So question, where is our Tao? Our Tao is in us. However, Lao Tzu does not want us to say, well, Tao is within us. Then some people will be so arrogant. So Lao Tzu say, hold on, don't be so arrogant. That's why in this chapter, it's called Do Not Overfeel. Do not overfeel. Although we all have Tao, but do not overfeel. So in the next line, it says, it cannot be recognized. Thus, the appearance are given involuntary. Because the depth of cultivator's inner nature or the inner wisdom or the essence, it cannot be recognized. The appearance are given involuntary. In the previous verse, we talk about the cultivator has this 4 description. And Lao Tzu want to explain further, but he's hesitate. However, he want his disciple to have a further understanding on how great the cultivator is. Therefore, in the next 7 verses, Lao Tzu explained, but Lao Tzu saying the appearance are given involuntary. He does not want to talk about it, but he have to talk about it reluctantly. Therefore, it's described in the next 7 metaphors. So in chapter 15 here, Lao Tzu talk about the 7 metaphors to describe the cultivator who follow the ancient Tao. But in the previous chapter, say chapter 11, chapter 6, I think chapter 4 and chapter 5, Lao Tzu use other metaphor to describe Tao, such as the window, the room, the pot, the wheel, the water, the straw dog, the bellow, and the valley to describe Tao. So in the previous chapter, Lao Tzu used metaphor to describe Tao, but in this chapter specifically, Lao Tzu used the 7 metaphor is to describe the cultivator who follow the ancient Tao. Let's start from the first one. The first one is cautious as an elephant crossing the river in winter. The elephant crossing the river in the winter. So it's just the winter time, temperature has dropped, and there is a layer of thin ice on the water. So the elephant want to go across the river. The elephant needs to be careful, right? If the elephant is not careful, the elephant will be drowning. So every step that the elephant take has to be careful. So before I begin, I want to talk about this word, Yu. Yu, it means elephant in mainland China. However, Yu has 2 meanings. I put it down as elephants because it's easier to translate. But since we are studying Tao Te Ching, I want to present you whatever you need to know. So Lao Tzu could mean number 2 or number 1, but it's easier to go with number 1. But for the purpose of our session today, I will elaborate for you on number 2. Oh, by the way, before I go on to number 2, let me explain to you. This Yu is made out of a 2-part. It's made out of this character and this character. So this character, it means elephant. As you can see from the pictogram here, here's the picture of the elephant. And then this is how the image transformed to the modern time here. So next time when you see this character, you can recognize it's the elephant. You can see that the elephant has long nose, and you can see it right here. Okay, so number 2, it means 5 auspicious mystical animals in the ancient time. Some of you have Asian background, you will know this term. The number 1 term is dragon. Dragon, it's a mystical figure. I believe no one see that before in our lifetime because it's only appear in ancient time. Who knows if it really exists, but it's your personal choice. The second one is phoenix. Phoenix is another auspicious animal. So phoenix, you can look at phoenix as peacocks. Peacocks has a long tail, but nowadays our peacocks that we see has a long tail, but the peacock cannot fly. But this phoenix here, it has a long tail, but it can fly. And turtle that we can relate to, right? We see sea turtle and land turtle. And turtle have long life. Some of the turtle that I've seen, some people say that they can live more than 1,000 years. And I believe phoenix and dragon live for a long time too. In the following slide, I want to talk about qilin and Pisho. Qilin and Pisho. Qilin we hear a lot, but Pisho we don't hear that much in our Chinese culture. So that I will present it in the next slide. So qilin, the word qilin, it's made out of two words. Qi, it means male. Lin, it means female. Again, qilin, I believe none of us seen qilin in our lifetime. Qilin is very interesting. It's I did not make up this. This is from the ancient scripture. This is what qilin looked like. It has a dragon head. It has a deer's horn, tiger's eyes, horse body, scale fin. So when we think about an animal with scale fin, we can imagine this animal can dive underwater, can swim, right? And it has a dragon-like tail, and it has a hairy limbs. You can see here between the connection of the limb to the hoof, there's a tiny hair. And qilin is told that can live for 2,000 years. And when qilin roar, it can sound like thunder. Qilin is very gentle, has a very colorful body, has yellow marking on the stomach. Qilin has all the ability to kill human or to harm other animal. Yet qilin is very gentle. Therefore, qilin is considered an auspicious animal. So some of you might ask, really? Qilin? I never see qilin. Where is it? Show me. I'm sorry, I cannot show you, but we can see it from the ancient scripture, and this is some of the picture that I retrieved from the internet. So this picture in one of the ancient Chinese dynasty, they have a big tomb. Right in front of the big tomb, they build several qilin right in front of the tomb, and this is the image of the qilin. And you can see there's a horn on the head, and then the tail looks like a dragon. And then here is another one. This one I have a specific location. It's I-Kuan Temple in China. They carve it on the wall. And here is another one. Both of these are from the I-Kuan Temple. So if you are interested, I can send you the slide. You can look further from the Chinese text here. And qilin have many stone statues in the previous emperor's tomb. All this image here is from 420 to 589 AD. It's in the Song dynasty. The emperor's name is called Wu Di. And then on this picture is Emperor Qi. His name is, it's also called Wu Di. And then this one is Emperor Qi, Ming Di. And this qilin here is from 523 AD. It's from Duke Liang, right in front of his tomb. And also this image here is from Emperor Tian Wendi back in 566 AD. So we have this one to show you qilin. Perhaps it exists. Otherwise, why would all the emperor want to have qilin right next to their tomb? And here I want to show you another, I should say, evidence from Confucius. So Confucius was born in this time, 551 BC to 479 BC. So he was born in the country of Lu. So the country of Lu is under the Zhou dynasty. How it goes is like in Zhou dynasty, there are different dukes. And each duke back then, they claim their own territory. So let's say right now, we are in year 2021. We are under Biden's administration. Say, for example, the Biden president allowed the California governor to claim his own little country. So Texas can claim his own little country, and the Arizona governor can claim his own little country. So there's total of 40, 50 little country. It's the same thing here in Confucius' time. Under the Zhou dynasty, because the king is very benevolent, he wants to share the power with all his governor or his duke. All the dukes start to claim their own country. So Confucius was born in the country of Lu, and under the leadership of Duke Ai. Under the leadership of Duke Ai of Lu. So it was under him during that time in 400 BC, 481 BC, Duke Ai of Lu hunted one Qilin when he was doing his hunting, and nobody knows what this thing is. Duke Ai of Lu finally called somebody in, and that person is Confucius. Confucius, when he saw him, he started weeping. And because Confucius understands what Qilin means, Qilin is a very auspicious animal. And in the ancient time, it is said that if you see Qilin, you will have good luck. So in Confucius' time, when he was born, Qilin was there with him. And now Confucius witnessed Qilin's death by hunting. Literally, Confucius watched how Qilin passed. He has so much sorrow for the death of Qilin. And at that time, he was working on his chronology for the country of Lu. He decided that he wanted to stop. And therefore, the chronology of Lu, it began from 722 BC and ends in 481 BC. And the reason Confucius ended his writing on the historical record for the country of Lu is because of this incident. The only Qilin, the only auspicious Qilin that we don't really see it, was killed by Duke Ai of Lu. He also write down in his scripture, he said, now Qilin has died. I will die very soon too. So in fact, 2 years later, he passed, and that time was 479 BC. And the next animal that I want to present to you is Pisho. Remember right here, there's two animals that I want to present to you. So we just finished Qilin. Now I want to talk about Pisho. Pisho is made out of two characters. Pi, it means male. Shou means female. So Pisho is a mystical animal too. It can bring good luck and ward off the evil energy. Pisho has a very strange looking from our perspective. It has the head of dragon, lion's body with hoof. It has wings and tail, and gray and white hairs, and can fly. So notice that it has wings. So Pisho can fly. And also Pisho also have a scale. And notice here, it has gray and white hair on the body. 4,000 years ago, it was documented in the historical record, the Yellow Emperor domesticated Pisho together with tiger, leopard, and other fierce animal, because during that time, the Yellow Emperor wanted to protect his territory. He used different animal to incorporate as his military force. And this is the statue of Pisho that still exists in China as of today. I want to talk to you a story about Pisho, but before I talk to you about it, I want to present you the list of patriarchs. As we know, in the lineage of IKT, there is total of 64 patriarchs. And out of the 64, the first 18 is from China. So here we can see number 15 here is patriarch Kongzi, who is Confucius. The 14th patriarch is Laozi. So Laozi is right here. And then the first one is patriarch Fuxi, who invented the A triagram. So the story has to do with the 12th patriarch and the 13th patriarch. So it was in this time, that is 1076 BC to 1043 BC. So during this time, King Wu wanted to overthrow the previous dynasty. So he has his prime minister who is leading the military. Leading the troop. And the troop leader is Patriarch Tai Gongwang, who we also call Jiang Ziya. While he was leading the troops, on the way back, he saw one animal, and that animal is Pisho. Jiang Ziya saw him. He was very shocked because he never seen this animal before, but he thought that it would be nice or very fortunate to domesticate Pisho as one of his armed force. So finally, he was able to capture Pisho, and every time when he go out on the troops for military fight, he's able to win a battle with a lot of help from Pisho. Later on, Pisho even gained an official title from King Wu. And Pisho, based on the historical document, Pisho, every day he eats a lot. But one thing special about Pisho is that he does not have expression. In other words, he does not poop or pee. So it's very strange. So you might wonder, how did he do that? The thing about Pisho is that his expression system is from his sweating gland. So he will sweat. And every time Pisho sweat, it will produce very beautiful, lovely, pleasant fragrance. And so when he sweat, it's his way of expression. And when he sweat, a lot of animal will come by because they come by to thinking there's food around. And when they come by, Pisho will capture them, and that those small animals will become Pisho's food. So that was a little story about Pisho. So the reason why I talk about Pisho and cheating, it's because in our previous session, we talked about the correlation of number behind the A triagram from Hetu. I mentioned about this strange horse. I call it horse because everybody say it's a mystical horse. And when I look at this horse, I think it does have some characteristic with Pisho and cheating, because this horse can fly, also have scale too, I assume, although here does not list the scale, but on the day that Fuxi saw this creature came out from the river. So we can assume this animal can be living in the river. The creature can also fly too, because when Fuxi want to take a closer look on the marking, the horse just fly away. So that's why I spend some time talking about Pisho and cheating. So number 2, on the metaphor, hesitant as a monkey, skeptical of surrounding. So in the previous slide, we talked about an elephant crossing the river as dealing with surrounding, but very careful, because every step the elephant take could be dangerous. So the elephant have to be very careful with the surrounding. But when we come to number 2, it means when we are alone. So when the cultivator is alone, the cultivator is also very cautious, as if there's a lot of people, a lot of eyes on him or her. So here it's the character of 4. 4 means 4 direction. Not only 4 direction, but also if we say 4 direction is east, west, south, north, and we can also elaborate to that the corner of east, north, the corner of east, west, southwest, and it's all from all the direction. Sometimes we talk to our best friend and we want to gossip, we say, hey, I'm going to tell you a secret. Only you know, I know, and nobody know. But in the ancient Tao cultivator, they would not do that, because not only you know, I know, but God knows. All the deities surrounded us know. So in Chinese, there is a saying, in darkness, one can be electrical spotlight from the heaven. That's the picture here. So even though when we are in darkness and there's nobody around us, but from heaven's perspective, we are being observed very carefully with a magnified lens. Next, whispering and thought can be thunder from heavens. So when we gossip, even though just when I talk to you verbally, only you can hear and I can hear, but it can be thunder from heaven too. So on this verse is talking about we should also be careful when nobody is around, because when nobody is around, this is the best time to contaminate our nature. So we don't want to contaminate our nature. So we should watch our behavior as well as when we are surrounded by other people too. Here is the etymology for the word yo, which is this one. So yo, you can see that there's a animal here. We see it's a monkey or ape. So monkey is wanting to eat the food from the jar, as you can see here. So this character, it's equivalent to jar. So yo is a word to describe animal that belongs to the family of monkey and apes. So the characteristic of the monkey and the apes, we have to know because we want to understand this verse here. So their behavior is they are very active, highly alert, and they can climb on tree in few seconds and can move very fast and capable of hiding when hearing any sound and seeing any movement, skeptical of surrounding and very hesitate. So this is the type of animal, every time that they want to do something, they are very hesitate and skeptical. So this is referring to us, like when you have a situation and you want to write somebody an email and you are thinking, should you write or not? So then you go ahead, write it, and then you read it, and then you say you want to press the enter button, but then you say, I don't know if I should hit the enter button. So then you think twice, you think 3 times, you think 4 times, you think 5 times, you think 6 times, and then you are still thinking. This, in a way, it's considered a virtue too, because we in the cultivator, every time when we do something, we want to be very thoughtful and we want to consider all aspects. So the best way I recommend on the email incident is that you just let it sit for a night and then wait until next day morning to decide if you want to send that email or not. Number 3, solemn as a courteous guest. Being a guest, we need to be courteous. So being a guest, it's somebody who is well behaved like a guest. So this box is to describe we are the guest. As if we are this character, we are going to somebody's home. So we have to be in our best behavior, right? We have to be polite, very courteous, gentle, and respectful. We intend to be more courteous to our friends and strangers than our family member. I remember when I was in, that's as far as I can remember, or even my childhood too. So I live in a well-loved family, and I remember my mom is she has a daytime job, a full-time job, but her job is to take care of us. We have 3 kids, take care of us and the work, and then every day she will prepare lunch and dinner for us. I remember I was so bad. I never say thank you to my mom for cooking dinner or lunch or breakfast for me. I just thought that mom's supposed to do that for me. So I never thought that I should say thank you to my mom. It was until when I had my child, which was 20 years ago, I started to realize that's a lot of hard work. So I started to train my kids. You have to say thank you to your mom every time when I serve you food. So my children listen to me. So every time when I give them something, even tiny little piece of chocolate, they are trained to say, thank you, mom. Not to mention the big thing. If I take them to shopping, they will say, thank you, mom. If I buy them a clothes, thank you, mom. So I make sure that they learn that virtue. So before, when I was small, I was ignorant, but now I understand how important that is. So here I want to share with you a story on the bowl of the noodle soup. So there was a teenager, this teenager who has this teenager syndrome. What I meant is this teenager have his own personality. He does not get along with his parents, and he constantly have argument with his mom. So one day he say, "Mom, I'm fed up with you. I'm not going to live with you anymore. I'm going to get out of here and I don't want to see you again." So he ran out. So it was until the next day, in the evening time, he realized he forgot to ask his mom money. So he was very hungry. He was standing by in the restaurant because he was really hungry. He was hoping to find something to eat. But of course, he does not have money. So he was in front of the restaurant. He was walking back and forth. And finally, a stranger saw him. And the stranger said, "Do you want to eat?" And the young kid said, "Yes, I'm really hungry. I haven't been eating for 2 days." The stranger helped him to pay for the noodle of soup. The teenager, of course, he said thank you. The stranger was there watching him eating the noodle. So the teenager, very quickly, he finished the noodle as he was very hungry. So after he finished, he said, "Thank you so much. I cannot show you how much I appreciate you, this and that." So the stranger said, "Oh, well, I just treat you a bowl of a noodle soup. What about your mom? You should thank your mom. Where's your mom?" The stranger said, "Where's your mom and dad?" I should mention about that too, because the dad provides a living space. So finally, it was at that moment the teenager realized that he never thought of how much good deed his mom and dad has provided to him. What a great environment he was in. So from that point on, he become an obedient child. So that was the story. So being solemn as a courteous guest is for Lao Tzu's way to remind us how to behave with others. We want to be like a guest anywhere we go. Number 4, dissolve as ice on the verge of melting. So the word dissolve, it means not necessarily disappear. It's to release that energy, to transform the hard angle shape, because the ice shape, it comes with angle. Maybe it's a cube. It's an angle that can be sharp. When the ice is melted, it starts to melt from the corner, so it becomes softened, and eventually it will become liquid or other form. The energy is still there, but it's become loose. It becomes liberating. This means to not leave any residue on the mind. And another character here in red is to melt and release. So it means to release and melt our ego. And it also applies to letting go of the things that has been sitting on us for a long time. It could be the grudge that you used to hold on someone else, and or the shadow that you used to grasp. The question is, how much ice do you have in your refrigerator? In your freezer. So letting go is not nothing. It's about selfless. It's being kind and compassion. And because when the ice is melt, it will have no comparison and no judgment. And when the ice is dissolved, our self become less, then this is the time that we can resonate with others. And when we can resonate with others, of course, we can resonate with Tao, we can resonate with other sentient beings, heaven and earth. You will be able to communicate with the divinity better. Next time, when we want to pray or when we want to meditate, we always want to make sure there's no shadow, there's no ice, there's no grudges in our mind. If we have too much of that, how can we resonate with the divine being or with our family member or with our brother, sister, our mom and dad? I have a picture here. I want to give you a great example. So imagine you are in the mountain hiking. You are in the mountain doing your hiking. and you can hear the wind blow. The wind blow, you can see the tree is moving along with the wind, and you can hear the swaying tree, the rumbling leaf, the twigs, and the branch are moving, and you can hear the sound of the wind through the moving tree. But then the wind is not going to be there forever. At some point, the wind is going to stop. So when it stops, what happened to the leaves? What happened to the tree? What happened to the branches? It will stop, right? So imagine if you are that tree. When the wind comes, you are the tree, you move along with the wind. But when the wind is gone, are you still moving too? I hope not. When the wind is moving, you move along with the wind. You flow with it. But when the wind stops, then you stop. When things come, we deal with it. When the things are gone, one return to the center, because you will return to your stillness. And this is when we need to be with ourselves. So this verse resonates with chapter 1. Constantly, with no desire, one observes the essence. Constantly, with desire, one observes its manifestation. So in our life, there will be wind coming to us. There will be thunder coming to us. There will be things coming to us. There will be bird flying over us. And then there will be desire coming to us. But then sometime in one point, the movement will be gone. When the movement is gone, then we should return to ourselves. Lao Tzu mentioned, dissolve as ice on the verge of melting. It's telling us, leaving no residue in our mind. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. And number 5, preserve as the uncarved wood. Character here I want to highlight is this one. This one, it means purity. Our original conscious nature, it's our Buddha nature. It's very pure. It's in its original shape. It's very sincere, does not have any stain, does not have any dye. It's not being contaminated. Has no embellishment. And this word is pu. Pu, this word, it also means this too, but this one specifically is talking about wood, but plain wood. So when you combine these two together, it means the wood in its original shape, such as this one. It's a plain wood. It has not been carved, and it's still connected to the source. It does not have any embellishment. Unlike this one is being cut, it's being disconnected from the source, and it will be processed to make it to a table, to make it to pencil, to make it to bench, to make it to house for construction. So what happens when the wood is being processed? When the wood is being processed, it's confined to its own purpose. For example, if a wood is being processed into a table, can it use for other purpose? Can the wood used for building home? Probably not. So that purpose is being fixed. In other words, in terms of a cultivation, it means our mind is being fixed. It's being narrow-minded, and we have a narrow-minded perspective. Therefore, our ego tends to come up. So it's very important to preserve our plain, uncarved wood, such as if somebody says something to you, maybe somebody call us or call me stupid, ignorant. Would I allow my uncarved wood to be chipped off? I have to preserve my wood so that it will stay in its original shape. If you are being slandered or if you are being criticized, would your wood still stay strong, or would your wood be destroyed by your own weak strength? So it's important to maintain our strength. And the way to maintain our strength is maintain our good energy by connecting to our Tao brother, sister, going to temple, reading scripture. It's a good way to connect to the source. So here I want to share with you a story. The story is called The Emperor and the Seed. Long ago, there was an emperor. He has no children. He need to choose a successor. He prepared a lot of seeds, and he invited all the children to come to his kingdom, and he gave everyone a piece of seed. And he told all the kids, I'm going to give you, each one of you, a seed, and you are going to plant it and take care of it. And I will see you 1 year later, and I will want to see how you take care of it. So there was a little boy named Lin, L-I-N-G. So Lin also took that seed too, along with other kids. They all went back to their village, and everybody take care of them well. 1 week later, some kids are able to see the result. The mother of the Lin helped Lin to put the seed in the pot, and Lin make sure that he water the plants every day. I think all the other kids too, because all the kids want to be the successor of the emperor. So 1 week later, nothing happened to Lin's pot. A month later, a lot of kids, they start to have reaction to the pots because they want to show off to their pots. Hey, you see this little thing already come out from the ground. So they start to compare to each other's pots. So every once in a while, all the kids will come around to brag about their plants. But for Lin's pot, nothing happened. 1 month later, 2 months later, 3 months later, they all do the same thing to compare each other's pot. And as you know, the seed start to grow from a little leaf to a little sprout, and the leaves start to come out. However, Lin's pot still remained the same. There was no action. And Lin was not feeling well because he makes sure he watered the pots every day, but he just doesn't know why the seed does not grow. So every time when the kids gather to talk about their pot, Lin was embarrassed because nothing happened to his pot. But all the other kids, they all have some kind of action. Some, they already see it's going to grow into a small tree. Some growing into a sprout, cucumber tree or an apple tree, whatever. It was getting very devastating. Lin was so disappointed. However, his mom encouraged him, don't worry, just water your pot every day. Make sure that you take care of it well. And every time when the village kids have a communication about their discussion on how great their pot is, Lin is always the one being teased at. So many months went by, and finally it was the day that they have to bring the pot back to the emperor to see, because the emperor say you have to bring the pot back on a certain day. And Lin was so embarrassed. He does not want to go because by this time he has been teased, he has been laughed at, he has been mocked for so many times, and he does not want to go. But his mom say, no, you should go, you should go. Just explain to the emperor what happened. So he went along with other kids. Again, he was being mocked again. So everybody come to the emperor's hall, and the emperor came out. He come to check everybody's pot. So as emperor come down this way, he finally saw Lin's pot. So the emperor said, what happened to your pot? So Lin was so nervous. He said, I make sure I water my plants, but I don't know what happened to my plant. I'm so sorry. I let you down. The emperor did not say anything. He said, okay, no problem. So he continued. So he spent a few hours to look through thousands of plants. These plants, they all look gorgeous. Blossom, leaf, and shrub, and they all look very beautiful. After he finished, he come back to stay in his place. He said, now I have looked at all your plants. I have decided who is going to be my successor. He called Lin to come over, and Lin was so nervous. And the emperor said, don't worry, come over here. And the emperor said, long time ago, it was a year ago, I gave you one seed to each one of you to make sure that you take care of it well. But what I did not tell you is that the seed has been boiled until it's not viable. I believe after I look at all the pot, I believe integrity and courage are more important value for leadership than proud display. So therefore, I choose Lin to be my next successor. So you understand the story here. The seed all have been boiled. They are not supposed to grow anything. But all the kids, their seed have been, I don't know, maybe substitute, being done some artificial way so they can grow in some kind of viable sign. So that's the story about integrity. So Lao Tzu want to remind us our character, our Buddha nature, our essence, we need to preserve it as the uncarved wood. Preserving the inner nature is very important. Number 6, broad as a valley. So this word is broad. Imagine you go to a place, it's very broad and there's no boundary. Maybe what comes in your mind is a desert place. And then the next character is valley. So valley is the lowest area between two mountains. So how big is that area? It's huge, right? So Lao Tzu wants us to have a broad perspective, as huge as the valley. How many things can a valley hold? Perhaps it can accommodate many villages, can accommodate many animals, it can accommodate many sentient beings. So it refers to have an open mind and a tolerant heart. In a lot of Tao temple, we often display Buddha Maitreya as the one in the center, and we can see that Buddha Maitreya has a huge belly. So this huge belly is to remind us that we need to have a great compassion to be able to take in all the good and bad things that we hear, that we encounter. Sometimes in life, we encounter difficult situations. When being slandered, gossip, criticized, maybe being blackmailed, being threatened, or being put some black mark or black stain for no reason. But Buddha Maitreya wants us to have this open mind. Imagine our stomach is huge. So how many watermelon can our stomach hold? Probably at most, I would say 3, right? 3. But let me ask you, how many sesame can you hold? Probably thousands. If you can accommodate 3 watermelon, you can accommodate thousands of sesame. So if you can consider each unfortunate things that happen to you as a sesame seed, then it wouldn't be so hard to swallow. And one time I have an Indian friend ask me, hey, my Buddha Maitreya in India is skinny. How come you is fat and chunky? Next time, if somebody asks you this question, don't be too worried because we understand Buddha come in different form and shape. In Buddha Maitreya in India, in fact, is a skinny one. And I think he looked very skinny. But the Buddha Maitreya in Asia is very fat. And this is what he manifests to the people in China at first. That's why we see this image here. So it's okay if the Indian want to want to worship their Buddha Maitreya as the skinny one, it's okay. Both of these are the same spirit. It's just a different manifestation in different time in front of different people. So this reminds me in Confucius' teaching when we talk about as broad as a valley. Confucius said, at age 15, I set my heart on learning. At age 30, I established myself. At age 40, I no longer have confusions. At age 50, I understood the decree of heaven. At age 60, I heard things with compliant ears. This is really echoes with this verse, accepting with all words. A lot of time when we hear something, most of the time it's what we hear. And also, of course, what we see too. So when we hear something that we cannot take, maybe criticism, whatever things that we cannot swallow. In Confucius' teaching, he said, I heard all things with compliant ears. So whatever he hears, it's floating like water. It's very smooth. It does not create any wave. does not create any splash. It just flow very smoothly. Can we all do that? So whatever words come in, we just flow very smoothly. Although I have to admit sometimes I cannot do that, but I'm still working on it. Okay, so number 7, mingle as in murkiness. So mingle in murkiness is that when the cultivator mingle with the people in a society, as we don't see that person stands up, this person is not superior than us. This person is just equivalent to us. This word 混 is the action of mingle, blending, to mix things up. And this character here is 浊. 浊 here, I want to point out to you is that 浊, it means murky, obscurity. Here, I could have put down obscurity, but I think it's not really obscurity, because obscurity it could be that something is just being vague, that you cannot see clearly. However, Lao Tzu here, it means not only that cannot see clearly, but it's very muddy, very dirty. It's worse than obscurity. So here in the translation, I think murkiness. What about the word sewage? I think the word sewage is the best word to describe murkiness. Mingle as in murkiness. Can we imagine the society that we are in now? It's murky. It's not just obscurity. It's murky, it's filthy, it's dirty. We have so much chaos. If we watch the news every day, your mind will go crazy, because when we look at the news, we will say, my God, how can this thing happen? Why would this person do such thing? I don't need to mention about it. So this chaotic society, it's a representation of murkiness. So being the ancient cultivator, he does not want to show that he is more superior or he stands out from the people from the society. He wants to mingle with this murky water or the murky society. A few days ago, a friend of mine asked Jigong Buddha, why does Jigong Buddha eat meat, chicken, and he drink wine? Do any one of you know why? He's from Lingyingshi, Hangzhou Lingyingshi in China. He is considered a Buddhist monk. He also have his master too. Being a monk, he's supposed to refrain from wine, and also he's supposed to practice vegetarianism. Yet he consumed wine. This Gore here, he constantly carry wine with him, and then he will often go to bar to have back then there's like open restaurant, and he will often eat with others, and then order chicken, and then other people will pay for his chicken. So why would he do that? So instead of answer that question, we should ask, if he doesn't do that, if he doesn't mingle with these people, or these people who is non-vegetarian, if he doesn't mingle with the common people, how will he spread his teaching? How will he spread his wisdom? He will not. If he act like a scholar and he want to intentionally distance from the people, from him, as he is a scholar, the other people are not, then he will have no chance to mingle or interact with him. His obscure behavior, drinking wine, eating meat, is his way of mingling in the murky water or the murky society. So when someone does that, that person is not thinking too much of oneself. And just a reminder, here we have a lot of senior Tao senior here. So by looking at this verse, Lao Tzu wants us not to focus too much on our seniority level And if we receive Tao, we would not want to tease those people who have not received Tao. If we are the senior, we will not tease the people who just come into the temple. If we are vegetarian, we would not want to tease the people who have not practiced vegetarianism. Because the moment that we start teasing them, the moment that we bring ourselves higher, we lose the chance to mingle with them. And when we lose the chance to mingle with them, the communication channel will be blocked. This verse echo with chapter 4. Embrace the light, immerse in the dust. So when somebody is mingling with a group of people, it doesn't mean that this person is lost. This person just wants to pretend to be something, but in fact, this person is very wise. I want to give you an example here. This is a funny story. The boy and 2 quarter. In a barber shop, there's a lot of men going there to get a haircut. There's one gentleman say to the guy next to him, you know what? Recently, there was a boy who is really, really stupid. And I will show you how. So he was talking to one of his neighbor who also doing a haircut. So this little boy came. And then the first gentleman said, let me show you. Hey, boy, let me ask you. I have a $1 bill and 2 quarter here. Which one would you take? So he had both hands up. One hand with $1 bill, the other hand with 2 quarters. Which one do you want? So the boy said, I want 2 quarters. So he picked up the quarter and he said, thank you. And then he took off. So the first gentleman told the second gentleman, you see, this boy is really stupid. I told you. So this first gentleman left. And then the second gentleman saw that boy. And the boy used that 2 quarter to buy an ice cream. So the second gentleman asked the boy, hey, can I ask you, why did you take the 2 quarters? The boy said, if I take the $1 bill, the moment that I take the $1 bill, the game is over. I find that this story is very funny. So indeed, the boy is very smart. So this verse, it's about dealing in muddiness. So we just finished the 7 metaphors about how the cultivators discipline himself and how he deal with the society and how he deal with his own character. Lao Tzu came up with 2 questions. Who can stay in murkiness for a long time, yet in stillness one gradually become clear? So Lao Tzu posed this question. The answer is not many. Lao Tzu asks, who can do that? It's the expression of who can do it. Lao Tzu already know not many people can do. The sentence can be paraphrased as that we are in this society of murkiness. But in this murkiness, who can be in still and gradually become clear when we go home or when we become peaceful in the evening? So the murkiness here, it's about externally. The other one is about internally. Murkiness is that somebody put themselves in a murky environment. And maybe one's appearance might look murky too. However, internally, this person can self-clean and maintain its original nature. Although one person looks very murky outside, although this person go to a murky environment, but inside of this person's mind, he's very clear. Nowadays, I have heard in some church, some pastor will lead a group of youth to a bar to have a drink, to mingle with the people in the bar, with the bartender, with the guest. That's their way to put themselves in that environment. Of course, I would imagine the pastor will choose the best youth and then constantly give them counseling so that they can self-clean themselves and maintain their original nature. This reminds me that our washing machine. Nowadays, the washing machine and sometimes our oven have a self-clean feature, or even in our computer, we have this feature called the system restore or system recovery. So we can go back to its original nature. So one day, if your computer have a virus or got messed up, you can use a system restore function to reverse back to its original purchase condition. So this reminds me of chapter 8, situated in the most disgusting place, thus it's called Tao. So this is to describe the Tao cultivator who are in this situation. But for the person who cannot clean themselves, it's not in this category. This is only applied to the cultivators who cultivate the ancient Tao, not referring to the common people. And of course, I want you to read this verse as if it applies to you and me. Hopefully, we can achieve to this state. The next question is, who can be a comfort for a long time? In the previous slide, I grayed out because we really have to read this two questions together. So let's focus on the blue text. Who can be a comfort for a long time, yet in motion, one gradually become alive? So in this verse, it talks about stillness. In this verse, it talks about motion. Because when somebody is still for a while, one person will want to be active. If you are in your comfort zone for so long, don't you want to be active for some time? And we can see that from the yin and yang theory. So when somebody is in the dark area, the yin area for so long, the movement will come about. So Lao Tzu is talking about most people who stay in the comfort zone so long, who can be gradually become alive. Who can do that? Probably very rare. So here, alive, it means, literally, it means alive, being active, deliver birth. But I don't want you to look at deliver birth physically. It applies to non-physical birth, such as to do some kind of inspirational activity, saving others spiritually. So when somebody is staying in comfort so long, Lao Tzu say it's important to come alive. So here I list up some example. Who can live in a mundane life and be alive in Tao? Engage and share one's Tao experience with others. There will be time that you will get a phone call from somebody. Hey, Joanna, I want to talk to you. I really need help. Hey, Joanna, what's up, dude? Can I share with you something? When you get this kind of phone call, or make a phone call to your friend and then incorporate your wisdom and experience in the conversation and find opportunity to mingle with others, whether on social media or in life. Encourage oneself to be vegetarian. We want to encourage ourselves to be vegetarian. Although with being vegetarian, Lao Tzu does not really talk about it, but he implied we all come from the concept of oneness. And being the concept of oneness, that means there's no differentiation from me and you. And that includes human species and animal species. So we want to encourage ourselves to be vegetarian first, and then the next step is to also encourage others to be vegetarian. And also we want to have an open mind, such as broaden our knowledge, open our wisdom, and to increase our knowledge library, our knowledge inventory, such as attending Dharma, Buddha's teaching, Buddha's Dharma, Buddha's gathering. You can watch inspirational movie, inspirational clip from YouTube. Sometimes in Facebook, they also have some inspirational quote that share among the friends. And there's a different inspirational group that you can join. And of course, you can join the Tao teaching online, such as this one. So who can do all this? The answer is very rare because just like this picture here, we are on the very top of the mountain. Is there more people on the top of the mountain, or is there more people in the bottom of the mountain? more people in the valley, right? There's more people in the valley than the people on the top. So we are all on the top of the mountain. So Lao Tzu say, when we are on the top of mountain, we experience that calmness, we experience that inactive, we experience that peaceful state, tranquility. There will be time that you have to go down to the mountain. You have to visit some people, to be active, to share with people, to inspire people. So being optimistic is important. So if somebody asks you, practicing Tao, is it like in Buddhism equivalent to Mahayana or Theravada? The answer is Mahayana, because when we practice Tao, not only we want to benefit ourselves, we also want to, hopefully we can spread the teaching to others, to enrich other people's life. That will be equivalent to the Mahayana Buddhism's teaching. So this verse is the person guarding this path prefers not to overfeel. So Lao Tzu used the word guard. This path or our inner nature, really, we have to protect it. Like we are holding a candle, and this candle has one tiny flame. We want to make sure that flame does not go away, because once it go away, then the flame is gone. So we have to protect it. So any one of this description will work. The person guarding this path, the person protecting this path, the person carrying this path, the person preserving this path, the person maintaining this path. All this will work. And then the Tao here can interpret as a Tao on the way, the person guarding this way. So that's why you see there are so many translations, because all this will work. And unless if you combine these three words together, it means not to overfeel. And that means to be humble, not to be boastful. In other words, you want to lower yourself. So when we do things, we want to make sure that we consider all aspects, our cultivation, our internal cultivation, our speech, behavior, and the wisdom that we manifest is not enough. We always think that we are not enough. Being humble. And because we are not enough, then whatever we say, whatever we do, whatever we express will be more cautious. This is just like if somebody is prone to get sick, when this person go out, he will make sure that he wear extra jacket. He will make sure that he have a good night's sleep. He will make sure that he take enough vitamin D so that he doesn't get sick. Being cautious is very important. In the previous verse, we talk about the seven virtue, and Lao Tzu posed these two questions. So this total 9 things that Lao Tzu talked about in the previous verses is what this person equipped with. So this person I want you to think about is you and me. This nine virtue and the 2 character, the 2 questions that Lao Tzu asked, it's easy to say than done, and it might be able to done, but how long can you last? So it's important, Lao Tzu said, if you can do it, that's great. Well, first of all, you have to know it, and then you have to be able to do it. And then, how long can you last? So how do you make it last? The way to make it last is not to overfeel. So this one echoes back with the first 2 verses in chapter 15. The cultivators who follow the ancient are subtle, wonderful, profound, and comprehensive. So it's this 4 adjectives that Lao Tzu want to describe this person. And we can see that if we are overfeel, what happens next? Then we are going to decline, right? Because we are coming to the black part. Due to not overfeel, one would preserve the ancient, not create the new one. Here, I want to emphasize on this character. This one is ancient. One would have to preserve the ancient, whether it's the ancient style, ancient way, and ancient principle. Lao Tzu is mentioning about our inner nature, our Buddha nature, our original consciousness. Throughout the history, throughout the human history, all the saints and sages and the Buddha, the deity, even Jesus talks about our inner nature. Jesus talked about being humble and talk about love, being equal. So all this are the term that ancient saints and sages teach. So all these are the synonym for our inner being. Preserving the inner being, it's a teaching that transcends beyond time and space. And there's nothing new. You want to preserve that uncarved wood. You don't want to put any embellishment on it. You don't want to put any decoration, no glamour, nothing beyond. So we don't want to put anything new. Another great example is that the ancient teaching, it's about our virtue. And though this virtue is to help us to develop our inner being, our virtues such as Confucius teaches benevolence, righteousness, honesty, integrity, propriety, sincerity, and trustworthiness. All these are nothing new, right? And in chapter 14, by holding the ancient Tao, one can managing the current life or the current world. By holding the ancient Tao, what are we holding? Anything that's old, the old style. So there's nothing new about it. So here it's a comparison of the new and the old. So the new is constantly changed. There's if we wear new clothes, one day our new clothes will go out of fashion. It will become obsolete. It will not last long. It's impermanent. So Lao Tzu say, don't pursue the new. Let's look at the old. The old one, although it's old looking, old fashioned, maybe it's undesirable, but this is something that will everlasting. And it's something that we should maintain and we should pursue. Here comes to our summary. This 3 line here is a transition between chapter 14 to chapter 15. And the next 7 metaphor, Lao Tzu basically cover everything. He covers how do we manage ourselves in our daily affair with other people. When we are alone, how do we situate ourselves as if we are being spied all over? And how do we behave with others? Be like a guest and leaving no residue in mind as if we are not holding any ice. Our ice supposed to melt right away. And then preserving our inner nature, have an open mind like an open valley, and dealing in the muddiness. And here on this slide, I want to point out to you that when we look at this metaphor, we can look at these two together because Lao Tzu, it's very interesting. His thought is very thoughtful because on this verse, he mentioned about be cautious when dealing with others. But the next verse is being cautious when dealing with yourself. One is when there's other people around, the other one is by yourself. And same thing for this one. Solemn as a courteous guest. So when you are a guest, you become very serious, maybe uptight. But the moment you become like ice, a dissolving ice, melted, and you become more welcoming and you become selfless. It's good to look at them together. And then this one, being a Tao cultivator who follow the ancient principle, is equipped with all these 7 virtues. But Lao Tzu wants to remind us, at the end of the day, you have to mingle in the chaotic society. So you cannot live alone. You have to live in a society. You have to deal with family. You have to deal with friends because Tao is in the daily life. Here, another thing I want to highlight to you is the first 4 words here is dealing with others. And this too, it's about our internal cultivation. We want to preserve our uncarved wood and we want to have an open mind. So we can talk about this as a self-cultivation. It's not visible. This one is our expression or our manifestation, our virtue. In other words, this is the invisible Tao and this is the manifestation of Tao. So I have come to the end of my sharing session. My next session will be chapter 16, returning to the root. If mistakes were made or said during today's sharing, I ask the forgiveness from the Heavenly Mother, Buddha Maitreya Jigong Buddha, 世尊师母, the past patriarch 前人, senior masterly and junior masterly. Thank you for your participation, and I wish you all good health. Thank you so much.